we go, man. We're officially beginning. All right. Man, we're getting kind of close to the end of the semester, right? We have next week and the following week, and then it's time for some summer madness, if you will. All right. So we have enough time, to take care of everything that we need to take care of, but we don't have time to procrastinate. All right. And I know that's an issue that a lot of students and faculty, right, myself included, that's something we all struggle with. But I think now is the time in the semester. If we haven't been before, like now is the time, to really, stay on task. All right. And many of us have been doing a good job, to get to this point. But now it's just, finding that extra gear to help you make it through the rest of the semester. All right. So yeah, we're almost there, but we still have the matter of this argument essay to address. All right. There were a few remaining proposals that were submitted, and I looked at those this morning, and for the most part, right, we're ready to get busy on our drafts, so now is the time to start putting it together, right? Think about what your intro is going to look like. Okay, think about what the body is going to look like. Think about the order you're going to address your reasons. Okay, and I have some material that I'm going to cover today that speaks to that. But at the end of the day, I do want you all to, begin writing. And when you're writing this essay, just like with all of our other essays, just keep in mind that you are writing a rough draft. Don't get so anxious that you end up getting writer's block, or you don't know how to continue or how to begin. All right. So just look at it as a draft. And then, it's something I've been saying privately to a few students. Oh man, the sun just came right in my room. Love the sun, but not in my eyes. All right. It's a little bit better. Okay. But yeah, what I was gonna say is just trust your ideas. Okay, trust your ideas, and whatever you get or whatever you put down on paper, that's just something I'll give you feedback on, of course, but it's also something that we can discuss in our conference that we're going to have, all right, starting next week, and then carrying over into the following week. Excuse me, the following week. All right, so just trust your ideas, trust your research. All right, and then also remember that you are writing an argument and you are making a claim. So there's going to be some opposing views, or there's going to be some pushback. So it doesn't necessarily mean that your point of view is wrong. It just means that other points of view exist. All right. So yeah, just keep all that in mind, when you're putting your draft together. Okay. And then the final thing about that is, trust the writing process, right? Don't wait until the last minute, to get started, right, on your thing. That is extremely stressful, right? Especially at the end of the semester, because as I've been saying, there's no more time for extensions. Like I can't I can't make extra days in the semester, right? And I don't know if anybody wants that, more days in the semester. Right? I know I'm ready to wrap up. All right. So the material that I'm about to go over, okay, it's in this drafting the research paper module, right? And it's actually it's not this one. Let me make sure I'm in the right class first. It's not this one. It's there's an updated version that I've also added to this module. Here's the updated version. It's basically the same. I just made a few subtle changes. All right. And some of this is just stuff we've been talking about, but there are a few just like paragraph examples that I want to show you. All right. especially like as we begin writing. Okay, this is just, you know, kind of like again, just stuff we've been talking about, right? Just like the basic, you know, the basic like characteristics of an argument. All right. And again, make sure your argument deals with a debatable issue. All right. Can't stress that enough, because that's what's gonna, you know, that's what's gonna give you something to argue. You know, just having a debatable claim are based on reason and research. All right. And making sure you're getting your material from credible sources. All right. It's not about fighting. Okay. It's not about being insulting to the opposition, even though that has come into fashion, you know, within the last few years or so. People just, you know, want to go at each other for some reason, right? You know, if there's a disagreement, you know, like there isn't much dialogue these days. Like everything is kind of like, you know, I'm right, you're wrong. All right. When I think like an argument, you know, that involves critical thinking, um, it's not really about it's more about dialogue. Era, you got your hand up?
Yeah, so I came in late. So I just want to know, is this going to be a new essay or just continuing the one that the last one?
No, this is brand new. Everything's new. All right.
Oh, okay.
So we're starting, I don't like to use the phrase starting from scratch, but for this essay, it's just something like a new idea. Okay, new idea, and you're gonna grow it. All right.
Okay.
Something new. All right.
So we're not going to use,
right.
sorry.
Uh-huh.
So I can't use the same idea that I had on the essay prior?
No. Uh-uh.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. Come anew. All right. And yeah, so, and like I was saying, you know, debatable issue, reason, research. That's going to be your appeal to logic. And then, okay, don't be insulted, right? You're going to have opposition, right? You're going to have opposition, and you're going to address opposing viewpoints, but you don't have to do them you don't have to do that in a way that's condescending or in a way that's insulting, you know, to the opposition. And in a lot of ways, when you're insulting, you know, to the opposition, you know, it makes you look bad as an arguer, and it kind of weakens your position, because you know, a critical thinker is going to be like, yeah, that's nice, haha, funny insults, but what's your argument? What's your position? All
It
right.
seems more personal when you're too critical.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, arguments, it's fine, you know, to have some passion in your argument and to be passionate about whatever the subject of your argument is, but again, there's no reason to be insulting to the audience. And then, like I said, that's kind of I mean, look at the last 8 years of political debates, all right, where it's kind of all been, you know, insulting back and forth, as opposed to like, here's my plan, right? Here's my plan for the country. Okay, make sure you keep your audience in mind. All right, audience of critical thinkers. That's all you need to know about that. Does not rely on emotional appeal. Okay, and I'll talk about what that is in a little bit here. Make sure you document your sources using MLA format. Make sure you take opposing viewpoints into consideration. And then finally, and this is probably the most important, or one of the most important, because this thing helps all these things go. Good arguments take time and planning. All right, take time and planning. So, you know, that's why I had you all begin with that proposal that lays out your main claim and your reasons to support the claim. So that was like a step in helping you, you know, get yourself organized, or helping you with the planning stages of this. So, you know, take that proposal, and now it's time to just flesh it out. Okay, look at those reasons. All right, look at those reasons, man. Okay. Yeah. All right. And this is the formula we went over Tuesday: claim, reasons, evidence. Okay, claim, reasons, evidence, right? That's, that's what you need in your argument, right? In response to opposing views, right? That's a good formula for an argument. Okay, so the claim is just your position on an issue. All right. Oh, the topic of this paper is college tuition, this hypothetical paper, right? So that's the topic, right? Topic is neutral. But make a claim about your topic. And most of you did this in your proposals, right? If you haven't submitted a proposal, all right, you still need to get that in, because I would like to know what you're gonna write about before you actually start writing, because I've had students, get, 4 or 5 pages into an essay, but they're writing about something that can't be argued. Okay, or they're just writing an informational paper about, a fact. All right, so, or their arguments are like way too subjective, meaning like my mother is better than my father or something like that. Okay, and I've had those papers before. All right, so if you have not submitted a proposal, get that in ASAP, because I don't want you to begin writing until I know what you're writing about, because it's going to save you a lot of it can save you a lot of time in the long run. All right, but take your topic, and then okay, what's your position about high college tuition? Okay, well, it's too high and it should be capped. Okay, that's a position, right? That makes an argument. Okay, and then you put your topic and your claim about your topic together, and that gives you your thesis statement. There should be a collaborative effort between government and universities to cap college tuition fees. Okay, there should be, right? Meaning an idea is being put out there. Okay, there should be more mental health resources for college students. Okay, minimum wage should be increased or should not be increased, whatever you feel, right? High school students should have to pass a series of life skills courses in order to graduate. Okay, that's an argument, right? Meditation should be in K through 12 schools. Another argument. Okay.
How about experience? Like, let's say, for example, if I were to argue experience over, like, let's say, degrees or uh, whatever it may be, like, is that an argument? Like, if I were to say, like, somebody who had a bachelor's degree or somebody who had 7 years experience.
I think an argument could be, don't say one is better than the other, but maybe you can argue that there should be some equity, meaning like, if I have a bachelor's degree and I'm applying for a job, and then there's somebody else with like 10 years of experience applying for the same job, just because that person doesn't have a formal education, like that shouldn't put them out of the running. Right? So maybe you could argue that life experience should be, given the same credibility as a college degree. Okay. I'm not going to say any more, because I'm going to talk myself out of a job by saying that life experience is is equal to a college degree, because then people, oh yeah, I don't even need to go to college, and then I don't have a job anymore. Right?
No, but I can work with that, right? That's
yes, no, that's a good argument. Look at it like this. Look at it like this, right? You got 2 electricians. Okay, one of them did, school. They did a trade. They did trade school. I mean, they did an apprenticeship. They did all that, right? But then you got another electrician. They just started the job when they were like 16, and they got all this life experience. All right. So, and I think there's something to be said about that. All right, something to be said about that. So you know, that's actually a good argument. Okay, let me see what we get.
I mean, I would always choose experience over someone who's coming like entry level. I would always choose experience. I believe that experience is better.
And the thing is, most jobs you get, man, they're gonna train you anyway. Right. And most, like a lot of jobs will tell you, like, all right, yeah, you know, I see you got a bachelor's degree. Forget everything you learned in school because this is how the job really is. All right. So, and I've been in situations like that where it's like you have to unlearn everything that you learned in school because I think school sometimes teaches you how to operate in a perfect world. But when things go bad, man, or when things don't go exactly according to plan, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's when that life experience will come in. All right.
No, I've been around people who had a degree and people who had the experience, and you would be mind blown.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it, man. So that's a good argument. And I just consulted the Google. All right. And I brought up a few things here. Even though, oh, this is a good one, LinkedIn. 5 reasons why experience matters more than education. Okay. So even though I don't want, oh, there's a lot of stuff here, but I don't want you to begin with
I
Google.
told you it's a good topic.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. So of course, expand your search beyond Google and try to find some academic resources. But a couple of these earlier sources are pretty decent. Like this one, Northeastern, education versus experience. Okay. Yeah. That's cool.
The only reason it's a good topic is because a lot of people are going through the struggle of like probably not getting a job right after college because entry level or just not enough experience. And then you have the ones who have enough experience but don't have the degree.
Yep. So that I think it's like in a perfect world, there will be some kind of like synthesis, meaning like, you know, maybe your last year of school is, you know, an internship, or maybe your last year is like you're out in the field, you know, doing the work. And there's some programs that are set up like that, but I think it's, you know, it's in a person's best interest to maybe to have something like that, because you're right here. Most jobs, I mean, they do want you to come in with some experience, but it's like, how can I get this experience when I can't get my foot in the door because I don't have experience, right? So that's a good topic. That's a good topic. All right, interesting. And then I think also, Era, like part of your paper could be just like discussing like the cost of college, the cost of college versus, you know, maybe I can, you know, when I turn 18 and I want to be, or I want to, you know, whatever my field is, right? You know, maybe I can just, you know, start working. But I think, of course, like things like being a doctor, okay,
Yeah, that's
going to
you can't
school,
do that with experience. I
it's
don't
like
think so.
like, do you want to go to the dentist? It's like, nah, you know what? My uncle has a little workshop in his basement, so I'm just gonna have him give me a root canal. Right? So some fields, I think school would be the better choice, but there's a lot of fields where, you know, the experience could certainly you know, could certainly trump a formal or a college degree. So yeah, good topic. Okay, good topic. All right.
Thank
Okay.
you. Sorry, it's pretty loud in here. I'm gonna have to mute.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I'm gonna mute myself too, man. No, I'm just all right. So after you claim this little section right here, this is a very condensed version of your paper. All right, because your reasons make up your argument. Okay, so if I say, and it's something I said when we were talking about minimum wage last week, and if I say like minimum wage should be higher, right? The next question is, well, why? All right, those are your reasons. So if we look at this example, you know, college tuition should be capped. Well, why? because high tuition leads to increased dropout. Financial aid does not keep up with tuition. Also, you know, if your financial aid can sometimes go by your parents' income, and a lot of times when it comes to income, what's on the paper doesn't tell the full story. Meaning like your parents could be making, you know, what looks like decent money, but you know, it's as many adults will tell you, money is like easy come, easy go. Like you get your check and then you pay your bills, and it's like, man, how do I only got $20 left? All right, all right. So yeah, sometimes the W-2 doesn't tell the full story, man. All right, it only shows what you got coming in. It doesn't show what you have going out. All right. But overwhelming debt for graduates, and then college, you know, as it increases in price, it can become cost prohibitive, right? Like, you know, tuition when I was a student wasn't as high as it is now. And I still had to, like every now and again, I would have to take a semester off to go save up some money, right? Go save up some money, then give it all to my school, man. Okay. Now, oops, what kind of evidence are you going to use? That's another thing that's going to make your essay, the evidence. So for each of these reasons, each one of my reasons, I need to prove it, right? I need to show how high tuition can lead to increased dropout. Show how financial aid has not, you know, or show some of the issues with financial aid. Show how people are in, you know, sometimes 30, 40, $100,000 in debt. And that's not an exaggeration. 100,000 in debt, you know, by the time they graduate. All right. It doesn't make sense when you think about it. Okay. So your evidence, all right, that's going to come from your research, and it's going to come from credible sources. Okay. So that's your argument. Claim, reasons, evidence. Claim, reasons, evidence. If you're missing one of those elements, your argument is not going to be successful. Okay, it's going to be incomplete. All right. But again, as I said before, you know, that's just something we have to talk about, you know, in our conference, you know, as we're talking about your rough draft. All right. Now, audience awareness. I just when I think audience awareness, a couple things come to mind. One of them is an acronym that I use a lot on papers, DARK, don't assume reader knows. Like, don't assume your reader knows what you know, and don't assume that they know what you meant. Okay. Say what you mean, right? Say what you mean as clearly as possible. Okay. Clarity is important because you want your reader to you know, to understand what you're saying. And sometimes I find with my student writers, sometimes there's a tendency to use like overly complicated language. Because I think, I don't know, it's just maybe the thinking is like, this is what smart looks like. All right. When that's, you know, for me and for most other you know, people who evaluate these essays, clarity is the best way to go. And often on papers, I will just put like, you know, practice using more straightforward language. All right. What do you mean here? Okay. What do you mean? All right. So as you're going back over your paper, just make sure, and there's nothing wrong. Like if you have, like if you like writing and you like to, you know, a clever twist of phrase here and there, or there's nothing wrong with, you know, you trying to expand your vocabulary. That's okay. But
Professor Nava.
uh-huh.
Sorry, I'll wait for you to finish.
No, go ahead.
But don't you notice when you ask us to do a paper about us, you don't have those problems? Because we know that stuff.
No, man. No.
Now, when you ask me to talk about obesity, childhood effects of obesity, it's not going to sound like me. It's going to sound like me after what you want is us to read the information and make it sound like me in a paper to you. Is that what you're saying, basically?
Mm, mm-mm.
See, I'm so confused.
No, but I think Amalake, you aren't like being patient enough with yourself, because
Okay.
writing is a skill, and it takes practice. So it's like
Okay. Maybe you're right.
it's not gonna it's not something that you kind of wake up knowing how to do, or it's not something that you listen to a lecture or a discussion and then it's like, all right, got it. It just comes with practice, and it's something that you have to keep doing. And what I'm hearing, Amalake, is you're still finding your voice.
I am.
Yeah. So give
I'm
yourself that time.
confused. I'm confused with me talking
Mhm.
and information and me talking about information with me talking. There we
Yeah.
go. That's
Okay.
it. That's where
Okay.
I am at. You're right. I am.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry,
So
continue.
no, it's cool. I'm gonna go over a few. I'm gonna go over a few paragraphs in a minute here. All right, just to show you, what a paragraph could look like, in your paper. A paragraph that's a good blend of research and then your own ideas, your
Okay,
own
perfect.
words.
Perfect. I'm ready.
Mr.
Oh,
Norwood,
yep.
quick question. So, I mean, I think this kind of relates to our question. Are we writing this essay in first person?
No first person.
So third
No I,
person?
me, we, us, our.
Okay, so like
Okay.
same as last one's.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No first person. And I think it's it's in our best interest as student writers. Try to like I can't, it's the end of the semester. I can't remember what class I said what in, but try I just said don't assume things, but unless your teacher says like I is okay, like first person point of view is okay for this assignment, just assume that you can't use it. All right, or like you just did, Antonio. If you're unsure, just ask. But for the most part, academic writing, you're encouraged to avoid the first person perspective. Again, unless your teacher's cool with it. But for the most part, you just want to let your evidence do the talking. All right. So now, another thing about your audience to keep in mind is they need convincing. They aren't just going to believe you because you're a nice person or because you have a great idea. Okay. They need evidence, man. They need evidence. Okay. And then there's going to be readers that are middle of the road. Okay. They don't have a position either way. So they want to see the evidence too. Okay. Now, let's skip ahead to the good stuff. Okay. All right. I'm actually okay. These paragraphs are the same as what's on this. Broke my computer. All right. I was gonna say, did my computer not want me to open it? Okay, so these paragraphs are the same as the ones in the slides. I just have these in Word because it's just easier to look at because the other one is single spaced. All right. So here's an intro paragraph and a body paragraph. Okay. And next week I'll show you just a couple more different ones. All right. But for my people out there who are nervous about just putting your draft together or nervous about using your own words, all right, I would say like in the early drafts, or maybe even do this in a notebook like by hand. right? Old school it all the way. All right. Just write about your issue. Okay. And in that, like you're still brainstorming, you're not thinking about research just yet. All right. You're just more or less worried about, all right, okay. And just to use your topic as an example, Amalake, so your paper's about like, racism has an effect on mental health. That's a great argument. All right, that's a great argument. I would just say, in the very early stages of this, what does that mean to you? Not even thinking about research, right? But what does that mean to you? Like for me personally, as I was taking my daughter to school, I was listening to NPR, and there was a story about the young man in Grand Rapids, who was just killed by police.
Yep. That's on my
And
mind this morning. My
so
husband and I
that's
just finished talking about it for over an hour. We don't know what to do. You don't act scared. You're scared. Don't act scared. I just had an hour conversation with my husband. Do not act scared. It's crazy. Yep. And it's on my mind.
absolutely. And just what you just said, Amalake, that last thing, it's on my mind. It's on my mind too. But now I also have these other responsibilities. Like I have, 3
Right.
classes today. I got to get papers read.
Right.
I got to be a
Right.
father. I got to do
Right.
all this other stuff. But I have to
Right.
do that in addition to thinking about this young
Yeah.
man who looks
Oh
like
my God.
me, who looks like
Yeah.
my brother, who looks like my
Yes.
nephew, who looks like my
Yes.
uncle,
My
just getting
husband.
killed.
Yes.
And
Gosh.
there's really no recourse.
Nope.
Because you said it, Amalake, like what can, I mean, people are out there protesting, but it's what can be done. So
I wanted
what
to
I'm
go.
saying, it's like, think about like how a lifetime of swallowing things like that can affect a person.
It's in my paper. I've done great research with this paper. I'm ready to write it. Like
Cool.
it's I don't know, like anyways, continue.
Yeah.
It's
So that's what I'm saying. So even though we are to use our own experiences in this particular paper, there's nothing wrong with starting from that place, because again, you all chose topics, that you care about. So of course, you're going to have some connection to them. So if you're thinking about like your reasons, how to develop a paragraph, start with your own, start with your own life. And that's not to say like you can use these experiences in your paper, but it's like your own reflections are a good place to like generate ideas. Because just as Amalake and I were talking, like we aren't the only ones, that have these feelings, right? So, or the only one that, just kind of experiences, whether it's a first-hand experience or as a witness, just these traumatic things. And the expectation of it is, we're supposed to just carry on like life is normal, like after seeing that. But when you think about it, stuff like that has become the norm in the US. And it's like mass shootings, have become like, we don't even bat an eye anymore when it comes to things like that. It's like, oh yeah, another one. Wow. Okay. What was I talking about? No. All right. Okay. So your paper, right? When you think about structure, okay, and this for anybody, when you think about structure, all of your papers are going to be somewhat the same, right? Because all of your intros are going to have a hook. They're going to provide some background, and they're going to have a thesis statement. Now, the way that looks is going to differ from student to student, of course, but like every intro should have those elements. A hook, meaning like your attention grabber, some kind of background or like context to set up your argument, and then your thesis statement. You need those 3 elements in your intro, okay? And remember, my good people, your thesis statement, I'm not going to say always, because there's always exceptions to every rule, but 99% of the time, especially when writing papers for Comp 1, Comp 2, thesis statement should come at the end of your intro. Should be the last sentence because you're building up to your thesis statement, right? So let's break this paragraph down, this intro, all right? It looks longer than it is because I'm using Arial font. Okay, don't use Arial in your papers. Okay, use Times New Roman. All right, I think Arial looks much neater though, but that's just me. Okay, I need to talk to the people at MLA. You start paying my membership dues again so I can have some say so. All right. According to data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, in-state tuition and fees for national public universities has increased 296% over the past 20 years. That's my hook, 296%. Okay, that's a pretty hefty increase, right? So if in doing your research, you find some statistic or some fact that's true, but it just seems unbelievable, right? Wow, tuition has been marked up more about 300%. Wow. Okay. Wow. It makes life experience, that much more appealing, right? Okay. There was once a time when college was a realistic option for most people in the US. If one had the aptitude and desire, a college education could be theirs for a relatively cheap price. Okay. Like, people who are referred to as boomers, like that generation, they don't have college debt, or they don't have the level of debt, that my generation and the ones after have. Okay, Generation X. All right. In fact, a great deal of universities didn't even charge for classes, as many were driven by the idea that a well-educated society is a better society. Yeah, ain't that the truth? All right. Additionally, even if one did not decide to go to college, meaningful employment was readily available. Nowadays, however, college education is all but necessary to compete in the job market, but the high cost of higher education makes me raise the question, is college really worth it? Okay, so you're giving some background or some context. Okay, how are you going to get them in the discussion? What does your reader need to know? Okay, many current college students will be thousands of dollars in debt by the time they graduate. To help end overwhelming student debt, the government should set a cap on college tuition. That's the thesis statement. College tuition should be capped. Okay. Right. So if we look, let's break it down. This statistic, right? 296%. Let's use as my hook. Maybe your paper begins with the quote, like a short quote, right? Gandhi once said, okay, Toni Morrison once said, all right, Steve Jobs once said, whatever you're writing about, okay, if the quote is relevant. Also, if you begin your paper with the quote, it should be short. Something that gets, it should be short but and related, to what you're talking about. Okay, statistics are great as well. Maybe use an anecdote, right? Anecdotes are just short but related stories. All right. So there's a lot of ways to begin. Just don't begin, oh man, have you ever? One, they use a second person point of view. And two, like if you open with a question like that, and maybe your reader has never, and they just lost interest in your paper. Okay. Also, and I think we talked about it in here before, don't use some generic opening. Like don't use some generic opening. College is very important. Okay. You don't need to tell them. Don't tell them what they already know. Okay, it's important, but whatever. Okay. And then give them some background. What do they need to know? Like this one, I didn't go like that deep into the history of the cost of college, but I did, essentially say that college used to be cheaper. Right. And then I noted that in most fields, you pretty much need, you know, a bachelor's or you know, or an associate's, but most jobs, they prefer a bachelor's. All right. As far as I know, man, the job market has changed a lot since I've been on it. Okay, but that's another background question. Like when I was asking what my reader needs to know, well, they need to know that college used to be cheaper, and they need to know that you know, a college education is a virtual necessity. All right, so they need to know. All right, I also need to know that, you know, graduates, you know, most of them will be in debt by the time they graduate. Okay, and then my thesis statement: college tuition should be lower. Okay, it's said differently in the paper, but that's essentially what this argument is communicating. Okay, tuition should be lower. Okay, it's too high. It's too high. It's too high. All right. One way to build your paragraphs is through using the PI method. All right, and I talked a little bit about PI when we were talking about your causal analyses. All right, and I'll talk about it more now. Okay, PI is just point information explanation. I had a great student in my 1510, the class you're in now, and I still have her this semester too in my 1520. But this student is like really great at using PI paragraphs. All right, point information explanation. Okay, the point is the topic sentence. What the paragraph is going to be about. College is supposed to be the key to a better life. However, many graduates find themselves saddled with debt that can dramatically affect the state of their lives. So that's what this paragraph is going to be about: how debt can affect students. All right, that's the point. Okay, that's the point. The P in the pie. The point in the pie. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Your own words. As previously stated in this hypothetical paper, college tuition has risen drastically within the last 2 decades. Okay. As a result, more students are taking out loans to pay for their education, with the corollary being increased debt upon graduation that can affect the quality of their lives. So you're explaining whatever point you make in your topic sentence, you're explaining that. Okay? You're explaining it in your own words. All right? Now, still, this is your own words, but you're making reference to some research. A Gallup poll that surveyed 30,000 graduates in 50 states. Okay? That's the research, right? So this is the I in PI, information. A Gallup poll that surveyed 30,000 graduates in 50 states revealed that about 70% of graduates are in debt, with 21% owing between $25,000 and $50,000. It's a lot. I know I fall in that range too. The study also notes that now here is a quote from the study, but the quote, you know, it takes up a very small part of this paragraph. Okay. The study also notes that graduates in debt are, quote, less likely to enjoy their work and are less financially and physically fit than their counterparts who graduated without debt. Now, let's look at our topic sentence. College is supposed to be the key to a better life. However, many graduates find themselves saddled with debt. Okay. Every sentence so far has spoken to this idea. Even our quote, right? It's spoken to that idea. It speaks to that idea. It addresses that idea. Okay. Now, okay, very early in these slides, I talked about using emotional appeal. It's good it's good when used sparingly, right? Like if you cook, man, and you like and you cook with ginger. If you've ever used ginger in a dish, man, you like a little bit of ginger can go a long way, right? A little bit of ginger goes a long way, man. I love ginger, right? It's good for you too. But the same can be applied to emotional appeal. A little bit can go a long way. Because if you use it too much, then your readers are going to be like, okay, I get it, man. You're pulling my heartstrings, but where's the evidence? All right. But like just the right amount will add just some humanity to your paper. Meaning it'll add like a human voice to your paper. In addition to like your research. One can witness the real-time effect and panic that can ensue by looking at the case of Kyle McCarthy, a recent graduate working odd jobs to repay $72,000 in student loan debt. In an interview with CNBC, McCarthy laments being on the brink of eviction and is worried that collectors may target his already financially strapped mother. To sum up his despair, McCarthy simply says, I can't get out, you know. That's a very short quote from Kyle McCarthy, but that quote says a lot. I can't get out, you know? So if you're, that's another, that for Antonio and others, you know, when we were talking about personal experience, don't use your own, but if in your research, you find like a story of someone having the same issue that you're discussing, share some of their story. Okay, I can't get out, you know. And then follow it up with their own words, explanation. That's the E in PI. Follow it up with their own words. So you got this quote from Kyle McCarthy. But what's your interpretation? Well, McCarthy is one of many with overwhelming debt preventing upward mobility. Okay. You could go on for another sentence or two after that, but I just have that there to make the point, like always follow up quotes with your own words. Don't have back-to-back quotes within a paragraph, and then don't start or end with the quote. Okay, always use your own words to start and end your paragraphs. Okay, now this would be my next paragraph, meaning this will be a discussion of my next reason. In addition to preventing upward mobility, student loan debt often forces students to consider dropping out of school. And then I would show how that's true. I would explain how that's true. Okay. A student going to register, and I'm sure many of us have had this experience, you know, myself included, when you go register for classes and they say, oh, yeah, well, you got a balance, so, you know, you can't register unless you cough up this 4,000. Okay. I guess I wouldn't use those words, of course, but I would say something like many students, you know, often have trouble registering because they have an outstanding balance. And I would keep that train of thought going. I would include some research, and then I'll follow up that research with my own words, and then I'm on to my next point. So in some ways you can look at this, in some ways you can look at this as a formula for like crafting your body paragraphs. That was what I was saying before about this student that I have that's, you know, really good at using the PI method. Like she really has it down to a formula where you can kind of pick it up in every paragraph, right? And that's good. And then, you know, once you do it a few times, you can make the process your own, right? You can add some, I don't know what people, add some ice cream to your pie, some whipped cream, whatever you like. Okay. Okay, wait a second here. Wait, let me get my options back up here so I can see everybody. Oh, here you guys are. Okay. Okay. Now, all right, wrapping it up. Wrapping it up. Okay. Let's wrap it up. Oh, in Tuesday's session, I will show you how to like respond to opposing viewpoints within your paper. Okay. Wait, this
When is this essay due?
yeah, I was actually looking at it right now.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm gonna make it do Thursday of next week. All right. It was due Tuesday, but that's kind of tight. Wait.
Professor Norwood,
Uh-huh.
we have to argue. We have to have opposing. Oh boy. Okay.
Well, here's
We'll go over it.
and I put a note on your proposal, Malake. Look into gaslighting, because that could be something that you can argue against. Whereas, people will like downplay the effects of oppression.
So does that go what before my conclusion? After I argue?
Well, that can be like within your paper, I'll say, but yes, definitely before your conclusion. So I think, and that's one thing that I want like everyone to think about, when it comes to structuring your paper, think about where you're going to address opposing viewpoints. And it could come towards the end, right? And you could say, I'm just using your topic as an example because we're talking about it.
Please, as much as you want. Because I'm taking notes. Oh, did I say? Oh, it's unmuted. Okay, there we go. I didn't hear.
Bam. Finish that thought. Finish that thought.
I missed it. My phone went out. Did you say something?
Yep.
Oh, you wrote it down. There you go.
So you can just start like that. Some may believe racism has no lasting effect to mental health, but the research shows otherwise. And then show them some research, man. Show them how, like grandfathers, fathers, and sons have some of the same stories that span generations. And in these stories, right, trauma can get passed down from generation to generation. Okay?
Yeah, I got that in there, racial trauma.
Yeah. So I think like you don't have to reply to every opposing viewpoints, but what are some of the, and this is for anybody, what are some of the major oppositions to your claim, right? And when you're doing your research, look into what the other side's thinking and reply like, no, man, you're wrong, and here's why. Okay, and here's why.
How many pages?
For the whole thing?
Yeah.
6. Okay.
What did you say?
Man. 6. Don't make it more than what it is. A 6-page paper is the same as a 3-page paper.
Okay.
It's the same as a 30-page paper.
Okay.
It's still going to have an intro, body, conclusion.
There you go.
So I think, yeah, don't make it more than what it is. Right. So and if your rough draft is a page short, that's it's just something for me to give you feedback on. Okay. But
so we're really going back and forth in this paper, like we're arguing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you're in court and you're pleading the case. You're a lawyer, right? And you're arguing, in defense of your client. Okay, you're just presenting evidence to show that your client is not guilty. Right? So whatever your claim is, you're just presenting evidence to show that your claim is true. Okay. So don't overthink it, man. Don't make it more than what it is. Okay. We're okay. We're okay. All right, we're okay, man. We've been working hard this semester, all right, and we're gonna keep working hard until the end. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's a semester, all right.
it is, man, and you know there'll be other semesters. Okay, other semesters. There'll be other papers. All right, but I think like there's great potential, you know, within all these papers. Like after reading your proposals, right? There's some good ideas there. So just start again, you know, think about your intro. Okay, then think about the body. Right? Think about your conclusion. Right? And then most importantly, and this is key for every paper, but I think more so for this paper, put your ideas on paper. Get them out there. Get them out there. This is a rough draft and you're gonna go back and keep working on it. So get your ideas out on paper. Okay, get them out there. All right. Then in conclusion, just wrap it up. Wrap it up without introducing any new ideas. Okay. Maybe you want to look to the future in your conclusion. Okay. Maybe you want to pose like an important rhetorical question. Okay.
So
Just
you
wrap
don't
it
want
up.
to put, so no, okay, so how do I wrap mine up? Okay.
Oh, I think a good way to wrap yours up, Amalake, is just by kind of posing that question, like how long?
Okay.
Right? How long, you know, how long is this going to continue? Right?
Yeah. Okay.
How
I
long
wrote
is
it
it going
down.
to continue? And then it's like, how long? It's like as a country, I think we, you know, we ingest a teaspoon of poison every day. And pretty soon, like it just, you know, it just builds up in our body and, you know, we become sick. Right.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think that's kind of where we are, you know, as a nation, man. We're sick. Okay.
Mm.
And what's the remedy? Love and understanding, man. Sounds simple, but it's the only thing we haven't tried.
Right?
This is the only thing we haven't tried, man. So, but what do I know, man? I'm just a bitter old man. All right. All right. So get busy, folks. Okay, we'll meet again on Tuesday, and then we'll have some one-on-one conferences, and then we'll be on to our final draft, and then you know you can go enjoy your summer. Okay.
So can we contact you in between now and Tuesday if we have some ideas or just want to see what you think, or should we just wait till the rough draft?
Contact me, definitely. But I do have to tell you, at this point in the semester, it costs money. No, just joking. Contact me with your questions, man. Please contact me. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right. So get busy, folks, and let's do it again one more time on Tuesday. All right.
All right, good stuff today, Professor Norwood. Very
All right.
informative. What's that word?
I
Informative.
know what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
all right.
I made a lot of notes. Thank you. It's
Nice.
clearer vision
Okay.
for me. So thank you.
All right, cool. I'm gonna post this recording and the recording from Tuesday at some point today. I just got a ton of things to do. All right. So have a good day, folks.
You too.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.